So the other day I was reviewing some old crash footage, reminiscing about all the crazy wrecks my friends and I have had. But I was also remembering all the times I ended up fixing their bikes. Over the years, I've learned a thing or two about what to look for after a wreck. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my process for fixing a bike post-crash, and hopefully you won't have to bother that one friend with all the bike tools anymore. My name is Sean, and welcome to the MTB Garage. So the first thing to check for after a crash is going to be frame damage. If you hit a rock hard enough and at the right angle, you can pretty easily crack or dent your frame. I've got two triangles here, one carbon and one aluminum, and I'm going to demonstrate to you guys what happens when they come in contact with a rock. So here's the damage to the frame. Not sure if you guys can see that or not, but that was just one rock strike. I guess carbon is pretty strong. I was able to hit this thing on this rock 3 or 4 times. It has not cracked at all. But like I said, these things are already damaged, and this one, a little bit broken there. So as you can see, the rock put a pretty good dent in this aluminum frame, but it actually didn't do that much damage to the carbon frame, which surprised me. It was only really cosmetic and didn't cause any cracks. To start the inspection, I'm going to first wipe down the frame in case dirt is covering any cracks. Next, I'm going to use a flashlight to check over the entire frame. The light will make it easier to see cracks and frame damage. Next thing to check for is bent rims. If your wheel looks something like this, then it's probably bent and needs to be trued. In some cases, the rim will appear bent, but in fact, it's actually the tire that's warped. I recommend going through all the spokes with the spoke wrench to make sure nothing's loose and to do any necessary wheel truing. Next on the list to check is the stanchion tubes. These can easily get scratched, and a scratched stanchion tube will cause excess wear and damage to the dust wipers and fork internals. Here's a quick demonstration of what that looks like. In some cases, if you get a scratch or a dent on your stanchion tube, it can be repaired. This is an old Fox 40 stanchion tube that I had lying around. It's been repaired with JB Weld. The goal here is to make sure that there's no burrs or edges on the stanchion tube that could cause damage to the dust wiper. After checking the fork, I'm going to move on to the handlebars. There's a lot that can get damaged here, and more often than not, the handlebar area will sustain some sort of impact damage in the event of a crash. Here I am inspecting the brake function to see if the brake internals got damaged in any way. The other thing I'll be checking for is any signs of oil leaking out of the masters or bleed port, and cuts or damage to the brake lines. I'm also doing a quick inspection on the shifter to make sure that it's functioning properly. As you can see, these handlebars got knocked out of alignment, so I'm going to straighten them real quick. The next thing I like to check for is the derailleur tune. Derailleurs can be a finicky thing to deal with sometimes, and when you throw impact damage into the mix, it can make it even more difficult. I usually start by dialing in the cable tension first. If you're still having issues with the shifting, you could have a bent derailleur hanger. Derailleur hangers are meant to bend in the event of an impact, so that the derailleur itself does not get damaged. I highly recommend getting one of these derailleur hanger alignment tools as part of your home toolbox, but if you're not comfortable doing this repair on your own, your local bike shop will have one on hand and can do the job for around 20 bucks. If you're still having shifting problems, you could have a damaged derailleur or a bent chain, and those would just need to be replaced. Lastly, I'll run you guys through some less common post-crash repairs, one of which being bent rotors. A bent rotor can be fixed with a rotor alignment tool, but if you don't have one of those, an adjustable wrench works as well. A little bit goes a long way here, so don't just yank on the thing, as doing so can make the bend even worse. Next, I will check the pedals for bent spindles and the saddle for bent rails. The final step in the process is to do a quick bolt check of the whole bike. I recommend using a torque wrench to ensure that everything is tightened properly. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified about future videos. Keep the rubber side down, and hey, let's ride again next week.